Okay, so there is a picture up on the screen right now, and at top it says, "Imagine how stupid." In the middle it says, "You're going to look." In the bottom's "in 40 years." On the top picture, as you can see, it's got the anti-gay marriage people, and below that you see the 1960s civil rights movement with race mixing and, you know, just all the stereotypical things you see and you remember, and I guess you can sort of like are iconic images of the civil rights movement on the bottom. So basically you've got this image that's showing, well, in 40 years the people who are anti-gay marriage people are pretty much going to be the civil rights people. So I put that image up on Twitter, and it pretty much has sparked a little mini controversy within the people who followed me. And so LordDsplae and I had a good conversation, and I said, you know what, this might make a good commentary. So here we are. We're in the middle of a commentary, and I think we should probably start out, since, I don't know, I guess since I kind of threw it out there, I guess we'll start out with you. And I want to get your opinions on this.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the opinions. And by the way, it's been a while, dude. So first off, I'm actually glad we're doing this commentary. And second off, it might get a little heated, but people remember that this is friendly, and these are our views and opinions, and this is a friendly conversation regardless of what our views and opinions are. I want everybody to know that. But when you put up this picture, you know, to me, I actually can't compare the two, because racism and you know, gay rights are completely different. In my opinion, you know what, African Americans, the black race, actually went through compared to what, you know, the gays are going through. It's completely different, because African Americans had no rights whatsoever. They were told what to do and when to do it. Honestly, you know, I have no problem with anybody who is gay. I have gay friends. So when I saw this picture, I'm like, you know what? I understand what they want, but to me, it isn't right, even though I actually completely understand and agree with the fact that they can be together. So with, you know, everybody already tolerating the ones that aren't gay, the ones that don't believe that gays are doing the right thing, we still tolerate them. I'm not going to say me, and I don't want people to get upset about that, because I don't tolerate. I don't have a problem with it. But there are people that tolerate it. But we haven't set any rules on, you can't be with this person because of your sexual orientation. They still have that right, and they actually can still celebrate what they want to celebrate when they want to celebrate it. But in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the church, and in, you know, the fact that in a lot of people's opinion, including mine, a man and a woman should be the only ones to actually be able to have the blessing of being married, of actually, you know, having the blessing of taking those type of vows. You know, it's not natural, and it's not right for a woman or a woman to actually be together in the first place, a man or a man. That's just my opinion. But at the same time, if that's what somebody wants to do, and if that's how they feel, if that's what they love, I'm not against it, because that's their life, and I'll completely support that. But when it starts getting into the point to where, you know, you're certain privileges, they can't be taken into consideration. You know, and like I told you, it's like, let's say that, you know, you have a Hindu friend that practices their religion. They are completely Hindi. They worship the cow, all that type of stuff. That's like you walking into their house wearing a leather suit and eating a hamburger and thinking that it's okay. You know, this to me, America was founded on you know, Christian and Catholic beliefs. You know, we have in God we trust on our money, and this is something that's being lost with generations. And I understand that not everybody has to be religious, but they have to understand of what this country was founded on, what these, you know, beliefs this country was founded on, and to basically go against that is to go against, you know, who actually is blessing this country in the first place.
I would now when you're. Well, I actually do have a question. When you're saying the as far as like quote marriage, are you specifically from the point of view of like protecting the quote sanctity of marriage, where you don't? Do you mind if gay and you know, homosexual people get married like I'm gonna say married in like a legal sense. So I'm trying to get the religious tone out of it. So I guess we could say like a union, a civil union. So is it a religious thing that you're against, or is it like a like a civil thing as well, where you just don't want to see it happen at all?
It's honestly it's just religious, but I think that religion has everything to do with marriage. Marriage was founded on religion. You know, marriage isn't just like something that was put together by politicians. It's not political. This was something that, you know, when you're actually getting married, you're asking for the blessing of whatever, you know, Lord, whatever you worship, you know, and condone that relationship. And to me, it can't happen. And that's why when I said they can have a celebration, like, you know, it's not like they can become legally married in the eyes of God, but hey, if you want to actually put a ring on each other's finger and have a celebration to where you have a ceremony and say that this is my husband and this is my husband, or this is my wife and this is my wife, so be it. But to have it on paper and actually have it to be, you know, in accordance to what the Bible says, no, I don't believe in that.
Okay, so for you, it's strictly a religious thing.
Exactly, and I don't know how many people that's why I kind of veered away from doing this a little bit, is because when religion comes into the picture, man, it's one thing that a lot of people veer away from nowadays. And I'm not somebody who's afraid to express what I believe in, because I don't force my religion down other people's throats. But I'm not ashamed to say that, you know, I believe in Christianity. I am a Christian, and I think that we should all stand up for our beliefs, and that's basically what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, really.
Well, you know what? It's one of those things where this is the beauty of our country. You know, we have the right to say whatever the hell we want to, you know, within the limits. I mean, you know, the whole like can't yell fire in a crowded theater thing, but you can express you can have your different opinions, and we can have these sort of debates, you know, friendly or otherwise. You know, we were allowed to have this discourse, so that's nice. It's what this whole country is about. My thing is, I was raised with a Christian background, like I'm gonna say most people, just because there's polls out there that probably say like 75% of Americans are Christian of some form, either Orthodox or, you know, Catholic or Protestant or some, they fall within that spectrum of Christianity. The problems that I'm having with this is that, yeah, I do have the religious background, but the older I'm getting, the more like I'm not an atheist at all, but it comes with my education. I'm finding that a lot of things throughout history that people take as like, this is what is written in the Bible, this is absolutely true. But then when you start looking at the context of like world history, you start to find out that Christianity isn't quite as unique as people like to believe. So I'm coming in this with a conflicted view, because to one degree I kind of feel that homosexuality isn't natural, you know, when you just think of the mechanics of our bodies. But my main thing is that I see this as a civil issue. You know, I don't see it as a religious issue, because, you know, if Christians, if they're going to preach what they preach and they believe that like the next world is what matters, then what's all the fuss about in this world? You know, what if two gay people want to get married in this country and they want to, you know, celebrate being gay or lesbian or whatever, as a good Christian person, it shouldn't concern you, because that's their soul, you know? And yeah. And the idea is like the things you mentioned, as far as, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, you know, furiously typing in the comment section about this, but the things about, at least, you know, the way that I was brought up about the founding of the nation, you know, is on religious freedom. So if you've got, you know, you can believe whatever the hell you want to. I mean, there are Satanists out there, and then there are atheists and Christians and Hindus and Muslims and whatever you want to believe it. You know, what the hell is it? Scientologists, Buddhists. Yeah, there's all these crazy religions out there. I mean, I don't mean crazy, but I mean, there's all these religions out there. And
we're all crazy.
We're all crazy. But if there are people out there that if it's within their religion, a tenet of their religion is men and women can get married under their religion, suddenly you've got an issue where the whole religious freedom this nation is built upon, suddenly you're just like, well, now you're saying that this religion is invalid because people can't get married. This is their belief, but we can't recognize marriage. So they're like, there's going to be a conflict of religion there. But like I was saying, my main concern is a civil issue, because basically what you're saying is that you've got these two American citizens that want to come together and have a union, but there are people saying that, no, you can't do that. You know, and I think that's where the picture comes into play, because essentially what they're equating this to is they were African Americans, they want equal rights as all other Americans, and there was these group of people saying, no, you can't do this because you're black and you're not white. So I think that's where the for me, that's where the distinction is. It's not a religious issue, it's definitely a civil issue. It's something that I think it's secular. It has nothing to do, it's outside of religion, because it's about the law and it's about equality for all citizens. Doesn't matter, gay, straight, white, black, purple, brown, yellow, whatever. Everyone is the same. You know, the whole, like, the law is blind sort of thing. You know, this is it. This is the code.
I can understand that. You know, I can understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's still the fact on that, you know, basically, I love the fact, first off, that so many people are going to be pissed off at this. The way you said they're going to be typing at the comment section. You know, I'm wondering how many subs I'm going to lose. You know, but it still goes back to the fact that they have their civil rights. You know, and I respect, you know, everything that they want in life, and I respect, you know, two men being together. I respect two women being together, because I think that everybody should actually have somebody to love and to share, you know, their life with. I completely agree with that. It's just the technicality of, you know, allowing something that basically, how do I say this, man? You know, when you get married, every time you've seen a marriage, every time you've seen a ceremony, have they not had the Bible in their hand? Have they not had a preacher or a pastor or a minister blessing that marriage in the eyes of God with that Bible, with that book, with that religion behind it? Not one time, and I'm 32 years old, have I ever seen a ceremony that has not included some type of religion. So if they're wanting that, then it's something that they can't have. You know, to me, they can't have that blessing. That blessing will not occur, because it's something that's not natural, and it's something that was not meant to be. You know, it was meant to be for them, but not in the eyes of God. You know, so for them to have a celebration or a ceremony and actually be able to, you know, like you said, share that, and to be able to say, hey, you know, we're together forever, and this is this bond that we have, and these are the vows that we've said to each other. They can do that without religion. You know, they can completely do that. And I guess, you know what, honestly, that brings me to where, hey, if America could legalize marriage on paper for gays that was not practiced in a religious way, I would have no issue with it. I would have no issue with them basically being looked at as a couple joined by law, but not in the eyes of God, and not in any way that a normal, you know, celebration, wedding actually goes by. So if they can find a way to do that, then I'm all for it. But otherwise, it's not the civil rights that I'm concerned about, because they have every right to do whatever they want, to put those rings on their fingers, to exchange the same vows that anybody would exchange. But, you know, and this not only goes for gays. I'm talking about anybody that has, like, if you asked me the same thing about two atheists, I would say the same thing about them. You know what I'm saying? If there was two atheist people that said, hey, you know what, we want to get married. We're not going to get married in a church, but we're going to get married on the beach, and we're going to have a preacher, pastor, minister, you know, bless this marriage, blah, 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 whatever he does. No, it don't work that way. You know, you're basically being hypocritical. You're saying that, you know what, I don't believe in this, but we want that to bless us anyways.
Yeah, so basically, here's something that I thought about one time, and you can give me your opinion. I thought if marriage, if they want to protect marriage, if that's what they're out to protect, if we were to make this, and again, like I said, I'm approaching this from a civil issue. If we were to make this a legal document that was a civil union, nobody gets, quote, married. Everyone just in the eyes of the law, you are
of
two,
the government.
Yeah, two legally joined people. That's it. You're just two. You are now in a civil union, heterosexual civil union or homosexual civil union. That's all. That's all you get. You know. So that, I think, if everyone takes marriage out of the equation, which will probably never happen. I mean, it's a word, but people are so attached to this word.
But it's a word that means a lot.
But it means something to a lot of people.
Exactly. You know, it means something to me, and that's basically a foundation of morals. You know, I'm big on morals, and I think I'm a firm believer in words having a lot more meaning than people give them. I can't even think of the word. God damn it! Why do I always get lost?
Well, I would say you might want to be careful on this track you're going, because the way you're putting it right now is that people who are homosexual are immoral.
No, and I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm saying that the public, America nowadays, is losing their morals enough to not understand what certain words mean. And I'm not just pointing out marriage. I'm just saying that there's a lot of words that have a lot of meaning, and unfortunately, we as a nation are honestly not taking into consideration how much is behind that word. You know what I'm saying? It's really it's basically we're becoming a desensitized race in my opinion. And unfortunately, if you look at the world today, it's not really putting us in a good predicament. So I don't want to say that, you know, what you just said about me pointing out just the gay community in general. I'm just saying that because a lot of people have a firm belief in what marriage means as a word, as a whole, as a meaning, you know, they're going to protect that as much as possible. And I'm one of those people who would like to protect that, because I want to protect the things that mean the most to a lot of people in life that unfortunately are losing meaning to our youth today, which is kind of taking us in a direction that I don't feel is the right direction at all. There's one thing that I think about a lot is all the things you learn, you know, when you go to Sunday school and stuff about, you know, do unto others and you know, the practice what you preach and all this stuff. The one thing that gets me is that the whole, like, God's plan, and you know, you are made in the way that, you know, you are the way that God wanted you to be. And so the people that are religious who just also happen to be gay, that puts them, from that sort of thinking, puts them in a very tight spot, because they might be really devout Christians, or, you know, Jewish people or Muslims or whatever. We'll stick to those big three, because I think they're from what I don't know. You guys in the comment section can correct me, but from what I understand, those big three right there are the only ones who are really concerned about this religion or sexuality thing. So within that, if you've got really devout believers who just also happen to be gay, that puts them in a really bad position, because, I mean, don't you think they would want? Well, highly understandable. Yeah.
Don't you think they want that? I mean,
highly understandable. But the thing is you got to think too. Okay, one thing, and it's kind of, this is definitely turning into like a religious and the civil thing, but it's veering a lot towards religion. But one thing I do want to say about that is one of the best things that I've ever heard from any Christian, Catholic, whatever, before in my life, is the worst thing to happen to Jesus Christ and our Lord was religion. Because all it really is it's kind of like politics.
You're speaking specifically about the church itself, like the man structure of church.
Exactly, what they preach to you in church. And that's why, honestly, I'll tell everybody right now that I consider myself a Christian. I actually believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, all that good stuff that the Christians actually should believe, as well as all that, I call it common sense, like respect, do unto others. That's not, something that's just from, religion itself. It seems like a lot of it, most of it is common sense. You know what I'm saying? The 10 Commandments is common sense.
Yeah.
But I don't go to church. I don't go to church because when I go to church, I feel like I'm having something forced down my throat, something that he wants me to believe, not what I want to believe, not what I want to have faith in, because I feel that that is what, whatever God you look up to wants you to feel. I think that if you're religious, you should feel what you want to feel without having anything forced down your throat. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, a lot of Christians try and force things down their throat, and it's more like a cult to me. So I don't go to church. I practice my religion at home. I pray how I want to. And I mean, you could say that, well, there's two gay people that want to get married in the eyes of God that are hardcore Christians, but look at me. I could honestly say that, yes, I believe that I'm a Christian, but none of us are perfect, so we all live in sin. Me, I may call myself a Christian, but because I put tattoos all over my body and quote-unquote desecrate my body, and I smoke weed, which may be God-given on our earth, but it's not there to abuse, and I abuse it. I smoke weed daily, not for medical use, so I don't actually see that that's not right either. I can honestly say that I am wrong, for doing that, not only common sense-wise, but religious-wise, but I do it because I have my faults, just like gays have their faults, and I understand that they're going to take this bad by saying, oh, because we're gay, we're faulty. You know what? Anything that, to me, a man and a woman fit. If you find two plugs that fucking miraculously, you put the tips of them together and they power each other up, that's some weird faulty shit, but it worked. So your gay relationship, to me, it's faulty. It's not natural, but if it works, let it ride. You know what I'm saying? But we all have our faults. Nobody's perfect. But to have certain things, okay, because I'll use me for an example. So I abuse marijuana. Because I'm a Christian, should I not have any type of consequences for that? I don't eliminate that. I don't eliminate consequences or something that I'm not. If somebody was to deny me something religion-wise from the church or whatever because I abused something that I shouldn't abuse, then I'll accept that. I will accept that because, hey, it goes against, what I preach, what is supposed to be. You got to kind of, unfortunately, fucking deal with the consequences. And to me, dealing with the consequences is not being able to have, the ability to get married and, have the blessing of God behind that relationship. But if it works and you can move on with the celebration and, like you said, eliminate that marriage and do like a civil, the civil relationship joint thing, whatever you called it, perfect,
So what I'm getting from you is that you're okay with a legal, for lack of a better term, a legal secular marriage.
Definitely. As
so
long
you're
as
okay. You're okay with that.
And it's not marriage. If it's just like a legal joint. Because honestly, dude, when anybody gets married, no matter how special it is to them, to the government, you're just a couple pieces of paper that now shares taxes, and you're in a different tax bracket and shit. So if they want that, and I don't even like saying they, if we want that, I'm going to go ahead and say we, because I may not be a part of the gay community, but I support gay people in having a happy life, and I will definitely never say that they shouldn't be together. So I'll say we as a nation, if we could eliminate the marriage aspect of that and just join them civilly by law, and that's it, not under the eyes of God, I'm all for it, dude. I would not have any problem with that whatsoever. Okay, well, let's take a look at the picture. Do you have the picture in front of you? Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's just take the picture as it is. And I think we'll probably just pop it back up on the screen for you guys to take a look at this too. All right, so if you look from, like we were just talking about, from a civil issue, I think, at least from this picture, do you think these guys are right or wrong? And let me walk you through this. Okay, nowhere in the image do I see anything about religion. The only thing that could have a religious connotation would be marriage. Stand up for marriage. You get the one man, one woman, one man, one woman for life picture in the front. But they're on the steps of what appears to be a courthouse or some sort of a...
Looks almost identical to the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost the same building. But you're looking at this, and we're talking, you agree upon a civil unionship, legal marriage under the eyes of American law. So when you're looking, if you take the picture at the value, there's no difference from what they're doing from what the I don't want to say race. I guess the racists are doing.
Oh yeah, they are
60s.
racist. Yeah.
So, I mean, but basically, what they're saying is, without like taking the religious part out of it, because you can't really see that, they're saying that they don't want man and man or woman and woman to get married by law. Like, this is it. Like, you cannot get together by law. So I mean, in that context, do you think these people are right or wrong?
See, but that's the thing. You can't really say that, because to me, that picture actually, even though it doesn't say religion, everything that they're trying to make happen is based off of exactly what is going on nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So those people, you can't tell that some of them may not be religious. Some of them may be haters. I'm not going to put it, behind or I'm not going to put it past. I'd say at least 20 to 30% of those people just being, haters, just having hate behind it to where they don't even think a man and a man should be together in general, not even marriage-wise.
I'm thinking of the guy with the beard and the guy with the black cowboy hat. That's what I'm thinking.
What's funny is those are the two guys that I was looking at too. Like they're like part prominent of the KKK. Like those guys are the Ku Klux Klan right there. They look like Texans that just fucking hate everything about everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I see what you're saying, because there will always be a religious undertone to what both of these parties are doing, because back during the civil rights, these people thought that African Americans were inferior because they're not white, and even before that they were slaves, and therefore in the Bible there was slavery, and those people were not Christian. They're different. Yeah. But the one thing I'm pointing out is that it's not that they're doing this at a church. They're doing it on government property, which from this picture, even if there is a Christian backdrop to it, they don't like it because of their religious beliefs. The point is that they're trying to infringe upon people's civil rights, their right to get married, their right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. If happiness is to get married and have kids, and I mean that's a totally different commentary whether or not homosexuals should be able to adopt kids or whatever.
Yeah, we definitely got to do something like that. We'll see how much we piss the people off right here. But I understand. But the thing is they can't stop this by standing in front of a church. That's where it's taking place. So they have no other place to be. That's the only place that they can actually protest to stop this, because of the fact that honestly, that's where it's going down. I mean, if you were wanting any results, wouldn't you go directly to the source?
Yeah, but the reason why I'm bringing this point up is because you agree with a secular marriage. And what these protesters are doing is saying they do not agree with a secular marriage. These people don't want men and women to get married. Under no circumstances do they want homosexuals getting married.
Well, I can understand that. I can't understand them. I'll leave marriage out of it. I believe in. I don't even know. How to put it. Like how you put secular marriage. I don't even like putting marriage into it. Yeah. And as long as it goes down that way, yes. And if these people are saying that shouldn't be able to go down at all, like if it wasn't, in the eyes of God, or if religion wasn't behind it whatsoever, then yeah, that does actually start gaining into the civil rights. Yeah. I can admit that. But as of right now, the way that they want those laws written, it's actually being... They need to rewrite it, basically. They need to actually educate these people on the top, these people that are saying stand up for marriage, one man, one woman, blah, blah, blah. They need to educate them. If that's what they want to happen, or if that's what the understanding that they want these people to have, that, hey, no religion is behind this, it's not, this is basically going to not be considered a marriage, it's, going to be considered a joint relationship where they're bound by whatever vows they want, but, exactly how I said it, no Bible behind it, blah, 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 then I guarantee you, just like me, you'd see a percentage of those people become supporters of, okay, we can deal with that, but that's unknown right now. Because that's not the way that they're writing the law. They basically want the law to be the same for what has been occurring for years, for lifetimes. So that needs to be understood before it could ever go that route. And it's just not there right now. So those people on top, they're not being, I don't think, all of them. There may be some of them, like we said, but they're not being as ignorant. Because the people on the bottom, the race thing, that was completely ignorant. You know, I mean, they're passing judgment, and they didn't even give them any rights whatsoever. These people up here, there's going to be a majority of them, I think, personally, because everybody I talk to seems to say the same thing as me that's kind of on my side of things. And they're all, I'd say at least 90% of them are basing it off of the religion aspect. So that's why I don't find it being, you know, not giving them their civil rights, because it's the way that it's written. It's the way that they're wanting things. Unfortunately, it's not civil; it's religion. So they need to get past that. If they can get past that and remove the word marriage, and you know, basically just everybody, hey, you know what? Here, everybody is equal, and if these people want to get married under the eyes of God, they can. But everybody else, you know, when it goes into the books, it's just going to be, you know, this type of joint thing, blah blah blah. It's papers. It's all government shit. And the people that want God behind it can have it behind it, and it would, you know, be a separate thing, whatnot. It would have to go into a lot of shit. But you know, like I said, I don't find them being as ignorant as these fucking racist bastards, because that was based solely on hate.
Yeah.
Every single racist was just hatred. You know, they had no education behind it whatsoever. They had no, you know, even if they were saying it was based off of religion, you know, fuck, dude. There's really nothing that supported it as much as, in my opinion, the religious support that it has behind gay marriage. You know, because it was just fucking plain out and simple ignorance.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing is we don't know the context of where the top picture was taken. I mean, we live in, you know, the radical California where we're crazy. We don't, you know, I bet you if we were to have a conversation with somebody from Mississippi.
Oh, completely
Atlanta.
Different, dude. Yeah.
We've got a very moderate view of what we think is going on here. I mean, you're very much on the religious side, and I'm very much still based. My whole thing is on civil rights, but we agree that there is a middle ground that should be had. Everyone should have, under the eyes of the law, a road. You know, everyone should fit.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
all
area.
about like what do you call that? Compromising and tolerating. You know, so that's, I think, unfortunately, both sides aren't trying to meet in the middle. They, you know, they're just like, it's my way or the highway. You know, the gays are saying, we want this, and this is our right as people, and we don't want it any other way. And the other side is doing the same exact shit, and nobody's meeting in the middle. And they're not really being like, hey, you know what? Just how me and you were on this conversation. This makes sense. This makes sense. This is how we can make everything go down. You know, but like you said, we don't know where they're located. If those guys are over, let's say where fucking Snacks is, dude, he's over in Alabama, bro. That shit is, I mean, they still got probably more racism there than almost anywhere, dude. Bama is bad.
Well, I'll tell you really quickly. This is kind of how bad. My grandmother's church, it's an older person's church, man. I think it was still in the 80s or early 90s. They refused to marry interracial couples.
Oh yeah,
so, I mean that's still around. It still exists to this day. I mean, my grandmother's 83. You know. So
yeah, we don't see it a lot because, like you said, it's Cali, dude. Cali. I mean, we've had gay marriages be okayed and not okayed and not okayed and not. I mean, it's been fucking at least 4 or 5 times.
It's gone a couple of times. I think the main thing that I take from this is that I think there's a middle ground. My concern is that there's too much religion being placed into politics. You know, I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid because there are so many things, you know, as far as like morals and stuff. Morals do come from religion. Does it necessarily come from, you know, the Christian religion? Not necessarily. I mean, these are really...
Christian is the baby, dude. You know, a lot of these things, you got to think Catholicism is one of the oldest. When it comes to Christianity, Christianity kind of, I mean, not kind of, it did come from Catholicism. You know, it's very new compared to, you know, Catholics, but they're of the same. Just kind of, you know, somebody kind of took it another direction.
Yeah, I'll kind of elaborate on that just real quick, because like Catholicism just means universal, like the universal church, but there you can find the Catholic in the historical record back in the 30s CE, you know, 80s CE. in the Roman times. So I think what you're mainly talking about is Protestants. Protestant is in all the Protestant. I guess from the Reformation, you've got this branching off from the Orthodox, the strict adherence to the code. So so what we have here in the States is a Protestant version. For the most part, like most people are some sort of a Protestant. You don't have to go to like Catholics. You have to go to the church. You have to get communion from a priest. The priest tells you, this is it. This is how it goes. I mean, you go to a preacher or a minister or whatever, but as far as I understand, I'm not a Catholic and I wasn't raised a Catholic, but there's an interpretation, priests and bishops and holy people are there to interpret, where you have more of like a Lutheran, Protestant, you can interpret Christianity the way you want to.
Exactly.
So you're not stuck in this rigid interpretation of the religion and the codes. There's not a big hierarchy. You don't have the entire Catholic Church above you telling you
like their religion is their law, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So but the thing is like I was getting to is that what concerns me is that this could lead into the whole getting back into the civil rights thing, a separate but equal sort of thing. It's like, well, we've got marriage for straight people and we've got civil unions for homosexuals, and they're essentially the same thing, but they're not. It's like you can be legally married, but you know what? The God just hates you. And that's like, I mean, it's funny to think of it that way, but there's just that sort of a problem, with getting into the religions. I mean, then you're getting into people's belief systems, and that's when it's gonna get all sorts of crazy. So I'm not trying to go down that road, but that's where I kind of see this going. It's this sort of like separate but equal, segregation-esque sort of a way, and I'm trying not to make it into like the equal of civil rights, because that shit was just nasty and bad, and a big black eye.
That's why it's just, this one's really tough, because of the fact that, to me, anytime you bring up religion or politics, it's an argument that neither side will ever win, because honestly, with religion and politics, it's all based off opinion. Even though me being a Christian, there's honestly, it's kind of one of those things where there's no proof in the pudding. Like it's all based on faith. And politics, it's kind of the same way. Like it's what people say, but there's no proof in the pudding. Like everybody just has their opinions and their views on how it should be. So it's one of those things that almost, I don't know if this will ever happen, because I think that's why it's bounced 2 or 3 times in California, because nobody can really make up their minds. It's like one side will win, but then all of a sudden they'll look at it the other way and they'll be like, oh shit, we made a mistake. So on a country that bases its opinions off of religion and politics only, how easy is it really going to be for this to be settled?
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. Here's what I think is gonna happen. This is kind of my process. Is that what you said earlier? I think is kind of true. I think our country is becoming more and more secular, more and more non-religious. Not to the point like people don't believe in God anymore, but I think that there's slowly a division between religion and law. We're not getting, and my parents talk about this all the time. They're really concerned about Sharia law. That's their big thing right now. They're like really concerned about this nation turning into a religious state, which I don't think it ever will happen, because that's just our country is not, it's not designed to be that way.
Yeah.
But I think that I think in 40 years or however long, when this generation of people have died off, not our generation, but like our parents' generation dies off, and there's more, and people today will call them quote liberals, very leftist, thinking people. I think of them more as like secular thinking people, like this is sort of, the right thing to do. It might not be for everybody as far as like religion's concerned, like there's the religions, but like in the scope of everything being equal for everybody, I have a feeling that maybe in the 20, 25, 30 years, maybe 40 years, like the picture says, people will have changed their minds. Because I mean, you look at the majority of the people in the picture, at least the prominent ones. I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3. There's a shitload of middle-aged people, like in their 50s, maybe their 60s, who are of the baby boomer generation, who are still sort of tied to those really conservative, I don't know what the Leave It to Beaver-esque, like kind of mentality.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah,
they got the old school mentality. I mean, you can look at both of those pictures and say the same thing for both. It's never really going to be the youth that that does too much of this, except for ones that were brought up in the way that these people that are in those pictures really pushed on them and emphasized and brought them up in that way. Otherwise, it's always going to be those people, because it's when change occurs, it's the ones that are affected the most are the ones that have dealt with the same thing for so many years, and then all of a sudden they're hit with this change.
Yeah,
and that's why in both pictures I see like so many middle-aged to upper-aged people you're talking about. I mean, you can see everybody I can see in both of those pictures has to be over 30 years old.
Yeah,
I don't see one that looks
Homeboy
younger than 30.
Pretty old there, and the crusty guy in the left corner.
Yeah,
there seems to be some younger people over here, but yeah, I get. You know what? And I think what's interesting is to be honest, I was anticipating a far more aggressive conversation. I'll be honest, but I think we pretty much agree on a few things, and then there are some things that, I mean, it's with respect to one's own personal religious beliefs.
Exactly, and that's why, like, it was kind of like, fuck, dude, when we do this, like, how is the audience going to react? And I mean, I'm one of those guys that usually says, well, I don't give a fuck, because you know how I do my videos, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I say what's on my mind, but at the same time, dude, when it comes to religion, when it comes to sexual orientation, when it comes to race, like, I am very fair. I don't believe in being ignorant, but I definitely stand up for my beliefs in a way to where, I was expecting a little bit more aggression, but at the same time, I'm open-minded enough to hear your point of views to where I can understand, like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I can see that enough to where if my religion side of it didn't get in the way, it could be okay for me, because I got nothing but love for the gay community, man. Like, honestly, they're very good people. I've never met. I see a lot of gay people in my profession. Like, a lot of gay couples come to get tattooed, and every single one of them is fucking awesome, dude. I've never met like an asshole, honestly, like most straight people are. But honestly, like, gay people are really nice most of the time. Yeah. But it's that word and that meaning is the only thing I have a problem with, and that's because I believe in something, and I would like that to stay the way it is for my kids, because I feel that that's what's right, and all because the next person might not feel it's right. I do, and I have children, and I want my children to grow up in a world that I feel is good for them.
But did you feel that it would be like your responsibility as the parent to be like, hey, look, this is what marriage means to us, to our family, to what we believe in. Doesn't really matter. It might not mean the same thing to Bob next door, but this is what we believe, and that's what matters.
No, because I wouldn't actually never address my kids in that way. I would actually tell them, this is what I believe. This is what your father grew up believing. This is what I think is right. But my kids have a mind of their own as well. So I'm always going to let my kids know that, hey, this is what I believe, and this is how I lived my life. But it doesn't mean that's the way you need to live yours. I just hope that you make nothing but good decisions. That's all I'm going to ever tell my kids.
Okay.
Because I just like how with what I completely disagree with at most Christian churches, I don't like forcing anything down my kids' throats either.
Yeah.
They're going to have a mind of their own, and they're going to have beliefs of their own, and I'm going to raise them how I want to raise them, but at the same time, I will never force anything down their throats.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm thinking what we should do is maybe revisit this subject in a couple of weeks, but bring in maybe 2 more people.
Yeah, bring in a couple outsiders.
Yeah, we'll bring in some non-California outsiders, and maybe an international person, and maybe somebody like Snacks.
Yeah, you know what? I know that Nappy, the King Nappy, was very, he was very strongly into this conversation on Twitter when me and him and the mediocre Madam were kind of going at it. We'll get into that on maybe the next commentary.
Yeah,
but he's somebody that probably would want to get in on this. He's definitely a very opinionated person. He's a good guy, but he's got strong opinions, and I think that might be fun. And like you said with Snacks, somebody who experiences racism on a daily basis because of where he lives compared to over in California, he might have some different opinions as well. So
cool. Well, I think what we should do is, like I said, we'll revisit this and in a couple of weeks, and I'm actually, to be honest, for everyone who's listening and watching the video, I'm really interested to read these comments in the comment section. I kind of want to see where this goes.
Yeah, me too. And like I said before, and I think I speak for Tony as well, we meant no offense to anybody whatsoever. Honestly, it's nothing but love from me. I'm pretty sure from Tony it's the same way. So please don't take offense to any of this. It's just an opinion. Anything that you want to say back to us, we will actually appreciate your comments, and I will not have anything bad to say about anybody's opinion. So please don't have anything bad to say about ours. Just come at us in a respectful manner, respectful way, because that's what this should be based on. I mean, it doesn't have to mean you're going to be completely nice about it, but be respectful about it. That's all we ask for.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys can find some information in the description. You get LordDsplae's Twitter, his channel, my Twitter in there. And you guys can send us your comments either via Twitter or in the comment section where it works best, since there's probably more characters. So anyways, guys, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, guys. Peace.